Sir, I rise to speak on the great city that is Tauranga, and I wonder how, with two sitting ministers, Tauranga's national standing and reputation could be so diminished under their tenure. Look at the recent council elections, where national media covered changes in Auckland, Christchurch, Wellington and Hamilton, with front-page news, but barely a murmur of Tauranga, the country's #1 export province. How can it be that with two sitting ministers, one the Minister of Energy and Resources, that Tauranga householders pay 15% above the national average for their electricity? How can it be that Tauranga ratepayers are saddled with a $60 million noose, incurring additional daily interest in excess of $10,000, that's per day, for Route K, and Route K being the road that should be a state highway as it connects directly to the port? Why has that not been handed over to the NZTA? Are we going to wait till just before the election? How can it be that despite having the Minister of Health, 11 and 12-year-olds are made to wait over 9 months for an appointment at Tauranga Hospital with an ear, nose and throat specialist? And schools such as Mount Maunganui College, not 15 minutes from Tauranga Hospital, have to wait many hours and sometimes overnight for medical specimens and smears to be transported to Tauranga Hospital when the international standard is under 2 hours. How can it be that the rotting, festering carcass of the Rena is still on Astrolabe Reef, still polluting our waters, and even worse, sending a message to offshore companies with deep pockets that it's okay to come and pollute our pristine waters? This government is continuing to demonstrate that it cannot even remove a boat off a rock, and yet it is ready to risk total devastation of our coastline by allowing deep water drilling, not only to depths of 3,000 metres, but chuck in earthquake-prone areas as well. How can that be? How can it be that Tauranga Port is storing the highly toxic and dangerous chemical, the oil dispersant Corexit? Sir, it's time that this government put people first and not profit. Sir, I would also speak on bullying because it appears rife in New Zealand. Bullying is a virus and has wheedled its way into our daily lives. Here are just a few real examples of bullying in Tauranga. A young woman came into my electorate office suicidal. After a year of trying to service a bank debt by paying $50 per week, that debt had blew out from $27,000 to $56,000 solely due to fees charged by the bank in giving it to their collection agency. Corporate bullying. Sir, a young man on the benefit approached me after his power had been cut off, and even after setting a repayment regime to the power company through WINS, that power company was then refusing to reconnect him, saying that to reconnect him they'd treat him as a new customer and subject to a credit check which he would fail. Bureaucratic, immoral, bullying against the disadvantaged. I know of a law firm that sent people to the bedside of a terminally ill patient in Tauranga Hospital and changed her will just 2 hours before she was due to have a life-saving operation. She thought she was signing operation consent forms, not signing a change to her will. So here we have lawyers complicit in the bullying of the elderly and the vulnerable. Now, I'm not going to name all of these firms because they deserve a chance to truly put things right. I hope they hear this and do the right thing. But this bullying, unfair treatment of our people must stop. Look at ACC with their standard line, that's not an injury, it's degeneration. Systematic bullying of the injured and vulnerable. The average Kiwi, sir, believes in fairness, and we should not tolerate unfair behaviour. Parliament has its own bully boy, one whose behaviour has been publicly recorded only weeks ago, when two young staff members, two highly competent researchers, were unjustifiably dismissed without notice, and that members' caucus, instead of fighting for what is right, they are sadly so browbeaten and bullied into submission that they uttered not a word, not a murmur, not a syllable, not a sound. Instead, it took a 21-year-old board member of that party to stand up and speak truth to power. Truth to power in defence of these promising young men that were wronged. Sir, I believe we need to stop bullies in their tracks. We are, after all, a nation that believes in giving people a fair go. New Zealand prides itself on being an egalitarian society, and we should not accept bullying from any government, any business, any political figure or any individual.
Point of order.
Point of order, the Honourable Tau Henare.
Mr Speaker, an accusation has been made, and there are 120-odd members of Parliament in this place, and I think it behoves that member there to name that person so that the rest of us aren't wrapped up in his little game.
Thank you very much, Mr Henare, for your contribution, but it's not a point of order. It's entirely up to the member. Honourable members, the time for this debate...
Mr Speaker.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
You were lucky.
Damn straight.
I call the Honourable Member Simon O'Connor.
Yeah, absolutely.